name of this song is Rusty Old Karmann Ghia. A Karmann Ghia is a type of car that Volkswagen built back in the 1950s to the 1970s. The story starts on a Friday night in July of 2023. I was sitting at home, alone, waiting for my husband to get home from work. I wanted to maybe get out and enjoy the evening with him, but he was delayed. But instead of getting irritated, I started thinking about what was going on, and I kind of had to laugh. He was late getting home because of recent developments in a family who we're friends with. Some of the people in that family include a young man who house sits for us when we go on vacation, a young couple that was planning to get married soon, a grandmother who lives in Ogallala, Nebraska, and a friend of the family who likes to dress up as a mermaid from time to time. All the names in this story have been changed, and some of the facts are true. It's Friday night and I'm here alone, waiting for my husband Florinda to come home, but I'm just laughing instead of trying to get even. It's because of two bunnies and a cat with asthma, a mermaid and a trip to Ogallala, Nebraska, a rush wedding and a rusty old Karmann Ghia. It all through. It started 2.5 weeks ago when a 20-something couple whom we know had to get married and had to get it done quick. It wasn't a case of the gal being pregnant, they just planned to elope instead of having a big wedding, but their parents found out and put a firm stop to their trick. You know how much time and effort goes into planning a wedding, right? And how expensive that can all be. I don't blame this couple one bit for being tempted to just blow all that off and elope. Romantic and practical. The young couple's names are Cleo and Jasper, and their parents found out only after their marriage license paperwork showed up in the mail. Well, Cleo is an only child, and her mama nearly fainted, and then she cried when she found out her daughter didn't want to put on a veil. So Cleo and Jasper had to make new plans, involving both sides of their family clans. They quickly booked a date with the justice of the peace. They thought that they had found a quick and inexpensive solution that would satisfy the whole family and not leave anybody feeling left out. But wait. So then another thing dawned on Jasper. His grandmother in Ogallala, Nebraska, hadn't left her hometown since 1953. Getting Grandma Luann out to Seattle would have been nothing short of an epic battle. So they came up with a way not to leave her in the lurch. They booked some red-eye flights to Nebraska, set up a second ceremony with the pastor of the Ogallala United Methodist Church. Alright, so let's review again here. It's Friday night and I'm here alone, waiting for Florinda to come home, but I'm just laughing instead of trying to get even. It's because of two bunnies and a cat with asthma, a mermaid and a trip to Ogallala, Nebraska, a rush wedding and a rusty old Karmann Ghia. So far we know why there's a rushed wedding. Soon I'm going to introduce another key character in the story. My husband Florinda and I don't have kids. We didn't want any, so we never did. But we've got two cats, a tabby and a Maine Coon. The tabby has asthma and needs an inhaler twice a day. So anytime we want to go on vacation, our pet sitter Griffin stays in our spare room. That explains the cat with asthma. Now here's what you need to know about Griffin. kitchen in his apartment. A couple of years ago, by chance, our pet suitor Griffin attended a square dance where he met a young lady named Hannah with one H, not two. They exchanged numbers to swap photos by text, and knew the story until what came next. 2 years go by and Griffin gets a call out of the blue. Guess who called Griffin? It was Hannah with one H. First time they've talked in like 2 years. Hannah called Griffin in order to see his help when she traveled to Europe a few weeks. She needed someone to care for her two fluffy rabbits. Griffin remembered her, so he agreed to house the two bunnies while she went overseas. Hannah saw an opportunity and chose to grab it. Hannah convinced Griffin to take care of her two rabbits for an unspecified number of weeks. But Griffin doesn't have a car, and neither does Hannah with one H. How will they get the rabbits to his apartment? Never mind the rabbit's cage. A couple of 30-pound bags of rabbit food and a 50-pound bag of wood shavings. Remember that Griffin bites everywhere, but in a pinch his brother Heath is there to loan him his rusty old Karmann Ghia. He can drive that car from there to here. We don't know why he owns a car that's older than he is by far. Karmann Ghia, from there to here. Okay, let's go back to review again, shall we? It's Friday night and I'm here alone, waiting for my husband Florinda to come home, but I'm just laughing instead of trying to get even. It's because of two bunnies and a cat with asthma, a mermaid and a trip to Ogallala, Nebraska, a brushed wedding and a rusty old Karmann Ghia. So far, we can account for the two bunnies, and the cat with asthma, and the rushed wedding, and the trip to Ogallala, and the rusty old Karmann Ghia. But, what about that mermaid? Well, Hannah with one H has two mermaid costumes, and Griffin had an intriguing visit with her when he went to pick up the rabbits. But I'm not authorized to repeat everything that I heard. If you wanna hang out with a brand new honey, and you got your eye on her two fluffy bunnies, they borrow or steal but show up in style. A Karmann Ghia goes got 2 rabbits to take care of, but he's got to make this trip to Ogallala, Nebraska. Guess who got roped into taking care of those 2 rabbits? Now that Hannah, at 1 age, was off enjoying Amsterdam.